Hey guys,
the freaking
Hi.
look at us,
everybody.
We're here. Mercury
We're dealing
retrograde
with
strikes
heat waves
again.
and storms and
Technical
It's
difficulties.
actually lovely here. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
But our,
Don't rub it
Whatever.
in.
we hit the heat domes every freaking
Yeah,
year.
we will. It's going to be our turn soon enough. Hi, everybody.
How's everybody
Hi.
doing? We got all our peeps here. Amy, Lynn, Duncan.
Hey, Naomi, everybody's here.
Oh
All the
my God,
people.
all the people. Deborah.
All the peeps.
My
Oh
goodness.
my God.
Hello.
Duncan.
Woo!
Hey,
Hi,
Lynn.
Lynn.
Hi, Duncan.
Yes, in the house. Kate. God, everybody's
Hi,
here.
Duncan.
You guys.
Hi,
Good to see
Amy.
everybody. So we have episode 3. Sorry for the delay. We have Cape Town. Woohoo!
Hey.
Chihuahua. Yeah.
Hey, Val.
Mama
Hi, Mom.
Perez in the
Mama.
house. Ken's here. Oh my goodness. Mary. Scary Mary
Yep,
here?
Scary
Oh no.
Mary's here.
Oh, she is?
Yep.
So we were having major technical difficulties because the episode didn't want to load onto live stream. But we're
Because
here.
Mercury's retrograde.
Mm.
Mercury's retrograding.
Again.
Phones are crazy.
Um,
Phones are
I
acting
need to
crazy.
blow that planet up.
Get rid of
now,
her.
one thing, just so you guys know, when we get to the Minotaur photos, I'm going to have to fast forward through it. So because this is not the clean version. The clean version that I put up after we got nailed for this version is still in here. So I'm going to be watching very carefully to
Hi,
skip over that
Em.
so we don't get nailed again.
Yeah. Too many
Let's
boobies.
blame George Hodel. Yes, Mercury can take a big hike, Don. I didn't even know what was happening.
Figures.
Yeah, it's happening.
I just wanted to thank everybody last week for the donations. We are getting there. Some people asked us to put a thermometer up, and we put it on our website, and I think we're at $10,780. So more than halfway there, you guys. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Thank you.
And all your donations and everybody that joined the website. And speaking of the website, we have a really fun thing to do tonight. When we get to the Zodiac, that's right, effing feminists,
Halfway.
more than halfway there. When we get to and again, we're assuming that everybody has seen this episode because we're going to be yammering all over it.
No, we're not. We're going to pause it.
We're going to pause it. That's right. I promised somebody
Not
that.
do that
I'm
again.
like, I feel like people think we go too long, so I will stop. But when we get to the Zodiac Dahlia connections, I'm going to pause it because we have something kind of fun to do for you guys tonight. There was a People magazine article that came out on this new group that found a hotel room, and they claim that it is the Elizabeth Short murder site. So we are going to have Joe and Bryce tune into and tell us whether they think it is or not, and what they see there. And we are also later on the website, we are going to look at, I don't know if you guys know the story. Basically, there is another dude out there who's been pimping his stuff that he has solved the Black Dahlia / Zodiac murders. He's put them both together to one killer. Sound familiar? And it should sound familiar because basically this guy was communicating with Steve Hodel for years and telling him he was going to help him with this cold case, and he was getting all the Steve receipts. And then 5 years, after Steve starts communicating with him, he comes out with the exact same theory that Steve had, except basically with a different killer and that he's broken the Zodiac cipher code, and the name is within the code. So we are also on the website tonight in the Rowdy Detectives Pub. We're going to look at that killer and see what they think. Okay, so without further ado, Liza Minnelli, is she here?
Liza?
Is that you?
Liza Minnelli is in the house. All right, let's get started. Thank you guys for being here. And don't forget the links down in the description if you guys want to donate. If you guys want to join the website, it's only $9.99 a month, and we sure have a good time on there. We've got all of our case files. We're all on there all the time. We put behind the scenes footage, bloopers, ghost box sessions, and lots of other things, plus the Lachlan Jones case that we're looking into. All of that is there, plus our lives every day after we finish here. So,
And we just have fun.
and we have fun, and it's all for $9.99, and it helps. Also, down in this description, if you guys want to book a reading with Joe Perreta and or Bryce, their links are in the descriptions as well. So book in, man. All right, here we go.
You said it was the Los Feliz house is one of the spots. One of what do you mean by that? What spots?
George, did you know Dr. Perlson?
Did you do abortions together?
Smith.
Sure. George.
How creepy is it when those ghost boxes call out our name? Like,
No, it's
So creepy.
It's always Karen too.
It's called, well, it doesn't call you out, Joe, but it's always saying when you go talking to her, who's with me, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
There was the
What
one
is
time.
Schumacher? He keeps
There
telling
was
me
one
in my head that.
episode. There was one episode when it called out the psychic, and it was talking to you, but it said the psychic.
Oh, I think it did say that. You're right.
And it was
Yeah,
so
but not
creepy
Joe.
the way it said it. Psychic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is crazy to me when you see spirit hanging right over our mediums as they're talking.
I have to figure it out.
That's wild.
Is that a key point in this story?
George, did Schumacher worship the occult?
Hey, just the doctor's in the house.
And his ashes.
And his
That's the
ashes.
creepiest thing.
Whose ashes?
Is Schumacher here with us right now?
There's much to do there, he said.
George, were you part of the secret club? Yes.
Can't get any
What was the
clearer
club's
than
name?
Can you tell us what the club's name was?
Who else?
Yeah, someone new is in here. Is there a new spirit in here?
There are two of us.
Yep.
Who's the other one?
I thought I heard tomorrow too.
So I thought I heard the same thing.
You heard what?
But isn't she alive?
No,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Tamara was raped by this group. It was
By the way, that tells you how little our mediums know about the show. And just so you know, even once Karen does the reveal, we only tell them the most limited amount of information so that we don't lead them in the wrong direction of what they may or may not be picking up in the moment, and so that they can continue to pick stuff up.
Right.
Thanks,
better that way.
Janine. I tried.
I think that helps a lot, especially when we're doing the ghost box sessions. Like Joe's like, I thought Tamara was still alive.
Yeah, I literally.
groups that
I
raped
never heard of her until that
Tamara,
moment.
what was the name of the groups that raped you?
Real.
White Death? I've been hearing that all night.
I was
Does that mean
freaking
anything to you, George? White Death? Are we hearing that right? Demon Aaron.
This was the second time the Wonderbox said the name Amnon when speaking of a demon. When I was researching Amnon, I found out he wasn't a demon, but he was a monster. In the Hebrew Bible, Amnon, who was son of David and heir to the throne, rapes his sister, and his sister was named Tamar. We reviewed the footage with Steve Hodel and asked him about the connection between Amnon and Tamar.
The reference to Amnon quite a bit that night, and you heard it in the dining room there. There's a
is that the
biblical
biblical?
reference. Yeah, a biblical
The biblical
reference.
Tamar. You know, one of the very popular poets back in the 20s and 30s was Robinson Jeffers, quite famous. And
Really quick, Amy, they did seem close and they did keep in contact over the years, even though he had abused her. And that's it's a really interesting psychology that I don't think any of us could understand. So
he wrote a number of books, poems, and one of them was a very lengthy poem called Tamar. And it has to do with incest, a brother and sister and father has to do with incest. And Tamar indicated that our father named her after that poem. And now she was born in 35. So fast forward 14 years and he's fulfilling that prophecy. But I do think that was the origin of Jeffers' poem, was the biblical Tamar.
Tamar, why'd you come back here tonight? Why come here?
She chose.
Yeah.
Why choose? What's the reason? Opposites?
Were you raped in this room?
No, next to bedroom.
Boys, they raped me.
What?
I think she was some boys.
Poison, boys.
So sad.
poison, boys.
Tamar, you could tell us. I believe that's why you came here tonight, was to tell us.
you see,
George,
Dave-
how many were in the club with you?
What was that, Lisa?
There were a lot.
There was that disembodied voice of the female, and you see David look up. Like he hears it, but none of us heard it until I was reviewing the footage.
It's crazy.
I'm one of them.
Who are you?
Tamar, were you in the club? Did you choose to be part of this?
Archie, I don't think he was. I think this was just a thing that George latched onto.
Yeah, I
because
got that impression
Real
too.
art, the
Yeah.
artist community,
Yeah,
you know.
it was just something that he latched onto and found his own way. Yeah, he needs to be the center of attention, no doubt, Amy.
No. So you were a victim. Schumacher again.
Schumacher made us, it almost sounded like.
Sins? What kind of sins?
What'd you say? I can't
I
what?
can't.
Be
I
here?
can't do this.
Tamara, please help us.
Say yes.
The ghost boxes in a quiz, is that what you're asking, Janine? Yeah. And yes, we own those ghost boxes with us here in the house, primed and ready to go.
Sauce in the top there.
Stairwell.
That's right there, isn't it? Yeah.
What's the first name? Harry?
So you guys know the stairwell that leads from the gate at the bottom of the entrance comes straight up and is directly in David's eye line of where he's looking when he points over there. So that's the stairwell that he's speaking of.
Harry Schumacher, are you here? If you are, can you please say hello or announce yourself? Is that you?
Quite evil you are.
Escape.
What was that?
It's me. George, are you part of an order?
Are you the Zodiac killer?
Steve Odell believes his father was the Zodiac killer, and several times we heard Zodiac on the ghost boxes.
You need to wait till I ask the questions out loud so everyone can understand what's going on.
Something Zodiac.
Between 1968 and 1969,
nuts.
there were 7 known Zodiac killer victims in Northern California. Like Elizabeth Short, the killer was never caught.
I start superficially researching Zodiac, and I'm going through the websites and gathering material. And I come across this composite, and it's almost like picture perfect for George Hodel. I gather a whole bunch of things, put them together, and because Dad was constantly coming back to the United States every 3 or 4 months, every 6 months. So I wrote Most Evil, the first book on Zodiac, and I came out with that book at the end of that in 08, and I said, look, I'm not saying that George Hodel is Zodiac. I'm saying he needs to go to the top of the list, let's do DNA. It's circumstantial, but it's compelling. Okay, and I left it at that. No case solved, unlike the Dahlia. Last year I came out with Most Evil 2, and I am now saying case solved, George Hodel was Zodiac. And that's primarily, it's based on a lot of different evidence, new evidence that we've added to it, witnesses and stuff. But the main, the Rosetta Stone, if you will, I get this email from a high school teacher in France, in Paris. And he says, Mr. Hodel, he says, do you know that the cipher that Zodiac, this authenticated cipher that Zodiac wrote is actually an ancient language he's coded, and it's called Ogham. It looks like it's Ogham, O-G-H-A-M, but it's actually pronounced Ogham. And it's a 4th century Irish Celtic language. It's called a tree alphabet. And what Dad did was, in one of his Zodiac letters, he signs it with this funny looking cipher. When you break it down and you get the Ogham alphabet and you break it down, it's actually 5 letters. And they spell H-O-D-E-L, Hodel. I mean, this isn't iffy stuff. This is just, there's only 5, there ain't 7, there ain't 4. There's 5 letters, and this was in 1970. He sent this into to the press. And he sent, not just any press, he sends it into the San Francisco Chronicle, which is his former, he worked there as a columnist in the 30s, along with all the, you have to take everything else
Absolutely.
with it. But it really was the cherry on the top that, leaves no doubt.
Along.
I have to say this really quickly. What Steve and Karen often reiterate is you can't just take one thing and say, okay, this is the truth of the matter. Right. You have to take all of these elements, all of these things. And by the way, we're going to be with Steve Hodel next Friday for a live stream with him, talk about this in depth. But when you look at the mass amount of research that he's done into this and all of the elements that he has built his case on, it really, for me, is undeniable. I know Karen has some issues, but for me also, after these ghost box sessions, and first of all, you hear George Hodel admit, you're confessing that you killed Elizabeth Short. I said yes. Give us the name of the killer, George Hodel. And now we bring you Zodiac. You could not convince me that anybody else is the killer of these two. I mean, you just can't.
I look at it as circumstantial evidence, like I would any case. You have 2 types of evidence. You have circumstantial evidence and you have direct evidence. Those cases are circumstantial. Direct evidence is an eyewitness who saw it directly, videotape evidence, and then you have a direct confession, right? Well, we don't have any of those for Zodiac, so it's all going to be circumstantial evidence. Steve has put together, yeah.
No, that's what I was going to ask you, because he said that he had witness accounts and things like that when he wrote the second book.
A direct witness to the actual act, okay. Not witnesses that can give evidence, but a direct eyewitness to the actual criminal act.
Gotcha. Okay.
So circumstantial evidence makes up most cases. DNA is circumstantial evidence. Blood spatter is circumstantial evidence. Yes. Fingerprints are circumstantial evidence.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't realize that either.
It's not, DNA is not direct evidence because you have to put it in context with where was it found, how was it deposited, who left it, what was the timeline, what's the deal. There are too many factors. So it's all circumstantial. So when you take all those factors into account and you read Most Evil 1 and Most Evil 2, and you see the sheer number of the circumstantial evidence that Steve has put together, it really is compelling. It really is compelling, but you have to pay attention and you have to see where he's going. And he shows his work. He lays his cards on the table. Unlike other people who refuse to show their work, Steve Hodel has laid it out in 9 books. You want to know his work? He's given you his work product, unlike some people who refuse to show it, which tells me you don't have it. So there's that. But we'll get into that later.
Amy asked, do you believe that George Odell's Zodiac killer?
I'm 90% there. I'll be really honest. That's a fair statement. I'm 90% there, okay? 100% on Elizabeth Short, no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
90% on Zodiac.
I'm 100%. We'll get to Joe and Bryce later.
With the mysterious cipher Zodiac
talk about
created,
that
he
later.
also wrote about collecting slaves in the afterlife. And during Joe's night walk, he felt that there were trapped souls in the basement.
It's very intentional with this guy. Whatever he was learning about and studying, I keep seeing sigils and symbols and all kinds of geometric shapes and drawings. I think this was intentionally locked energetically, which is something that most people don't even know exists. Which I didn't even know it existed.
Explain that.
I'm not too sure I can explain it because I don't know. I don't have the frame of reference for it, except that I feel like he did some kind of ritual to lock energy in this space. I feel like whatever is here or whatever he like sentenced here has to stay in here because it's like that invisible wall that I felt when I first entered the house and didn't want to come into this part of the house. It's like this is his own creation, wanted to keep the energy in this room or in this part of the house. And he used some kind of ritualistic means, I believe, because of what's being shown to me. I don't know specifically why.
Is he doing this as he's murdering them? The Zodiac sign said he's going to make them his slaves in the afterlife. So as he's killing them, is he doing this?
No, my guys told me this is like a prep thing. Like it was prepared. The space was prepared for that purpose. Very premeditated and prepared to be like a tomb or a prison.
It was
I have
heartbreaking.
to say, first of all, that was just Joe and I in that basement alone, which was already a great factor.
You see the shovel under there?
Yeah.
You can see the shovel.
You can see the shovel under there. And so you already have a creep factor. Then Joe's forward with all the stuff. And I find it so interesting that did I not understand, but I assume that he did. And when I asked him to explain, he's like, I understand. That shows little we were going in this direction. I mean, none of us.
Not at all. I like hated that I was even saying that on camera because I was like, what am I talking about? Like, what? But, listen, any medium who's, good at what they do will know if dead people or your guides, especially your guides, start telling you something, it doesn't matter if you understand it. You got to just say it. You got to just go with it. So I was like, all right, here I am looking like a friggin' lunatic here in this house in LA. What am I supposed to do?
I think it's a good lesson that we've all learned in hindsight is for you guys to say whatever's on your mind, no matter how crazy it is. Because you've come to me a couple of times, Joe, and gone, I could kick myself for not saying what I was feeling because it sounded so damn crazy that I didn't say it, There
was a few times that watching season 1 again, I'm like, you stupid prick. Like, why didn't you say that? It sounded nuts. It sounded crazy. I would never know. Season 2, I said whatever the hell came in my head.
Demon Chihuahua, yes, it was used for quite a few movies. The Aviator and all kinds of crap.
That there were trapped souls in the basement, so we went down to try and release them. But that didn't go so well.
Right here. Right here is...
Beth, I have to say, we have talked about going back to the Sowden house and looking at the vibrational frequencies and all kinds of experiments there with that. So it's really interesting that you said this. And I have to say that this is probably the craziest. We were down there for 2 hours, by the way, down in this basement. There goes the balloon. We were down there for 2 hours in the basement, and you can see that, number one, it's night 2. I think this is at about 2 o'clock in the morning. We are all exhausted, barely staying awake.
I'm going to answer this question.
And which was probably not the smartest thing. We're all in a weak state. Yeah, and back to Zodiac.
Just to answer Lynn's question, it's a good question. Steve Hodel has been begging law enforcement from Vallejo, from San Francisco, from all the places where Zodiac killings. From what we understand, there may be a partial profile or DNA from some evidence that was left from maybe one or more of the Zodiac scenes. Now that's going to be degraded. It's going to be difficult to work with. However, Steve does have George's profile, and he has begged them to do a comparison. I actually made a phone call up there on his behalf to a colleague of mine, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And I could not get a straight answer. So Steve is begging for it to be done, and for whatever reason, they will not do it. Steve's even offered to pay.
Yeah.
He's even offered to pay for it and do it.
All right. Back into the basement from...
And where?
There's an anomaly by the door.
That is crazy.
Got a cold gun.
Perspective of where the door is.
What the fuck? What? Something touched me. Something touched me.
Careful. Don't come forward, David, please.
Who's behind me?
I kind of love how everybody's like, David, just calm the fuck, just calm down.
I am appalled.
And come up with all these excuses. Maybe it was Andy's good. No. And then what the ghost box says next freaked me out.
There's something moving. Something just touched my back.
Andy's spirit boxes.
No, something touched my back.
It might be the shelves too.
Nope. Something lifted my shirt up. Who touched my bag?
Did you hear that?
I felt a really cold draft, and then something lifted my shirt. You felt that, right?
Yeah, right.
It lifted my shirt up.
That freaked me out.
It's right behind us, guys. Why me? Who's touching me?
You know, you ladies don't have to listen to what he tells you to do.
Thought it hurt short. Why are you focusing on me? Okay, it's still touching my back.
Oh my God.
We moved David away from the area, but it didn't help. Why was Spirit so focused on
The fact that he's seeing it and the spirit box is confirming it.
It
And
is.
again, we miss so much in the moment, but when you go
Right.
back and you're listening, you go, oh my God. And yeah. But
That's his story.
it's
It's usually mine.
he was definitely being targeted at this location.
Yeah, he was.
him? Earlier in the dining room,
Oh,
they
yeah.
threatened him.
Can't harm me. It's so cold right here, guys. Cold behind me.
Is there anything over there? Karen,
window
keep
right there.
Is there anything over there?
No, dude.
Yeah, there's a window right there. There's a window
It's
right
with
there.
him.
Coming from there. It's
No,
coming-
it's with him, is what he just
It
said.
hasn't
Guys,
been that temperature.
just focus here. We're trying to get in touch with the women. We want to help the women.
That thing that he's sitting on. Talking about this bag, it's protecting me.
So what David has in his hand, started the investigation, Marine handed out protection pouches to everybody, and David's was in his back pocket. And I think it's absolutely amazing that you can see Spirit reaching for his pocket, even
Oh my
as
God.
it says, get in this pocket. It's crazy. And then it confirms, yes, that's what we want.
Yeah, it was just in your back pocket.
Look at that.
It said the thing that he's sitting on. It's talking about this. You don't like it, do you? It's the protection.
Got it.
It's going in my pocket.
Trying to. It's right at your back, buddy. I'm sorry.
I know. I can feel it back there.
The one on your pocket has stopped moving, but it's still
I can imagine in the name of Jesus Christ, you need to back off. Back away.
Joe, do you have any idea who it is?
Their arms are all hanging down. They've stopped poking at you.
Back away.
It feels like he's making the women do this.
Back away. My whole body's cold, guys. Don't touch me and shit.
You ladies do not have to do what George tells
You don't
you.
have to listen to him. You never did.
No. They're not your slaves. They are not your slaves.
No.
That's still back there?
Yeah.
Something moved back there.
She's back up again, but she's not aggressive.
I command you to not touch me in the name of Jesus Christ.
You know what's crazy? The anomalies are pink.
Elizabeth, are you here? Yes.
What the fuck?
What did it say?
I thought it said eat David.
Look at that spirit hanging over him. It's so creepy. And the words that they're saying, you know, and I can't tell you guys how many times, and I don't think I've put it in too many episodes, that we hear about them eating people.
Yeah.
Like it is
Yeah,
in
that has come
so
up.
many post box sessions, and we haven't put it out because, quite frankly, it sounds too crazy to believe, but it comes up a lot, a whole lot, and things that make you go, WTF.
Tell them to walk into the light.
I don't think they want to.
They don't want to.
I think they enjoy being. These particular ones enjoy what he's doing.
The one I was talking to before told me that they have to. I don't understand they have to.
Betty, I was. Did you willingly give yourself to George? Did you know what he was going to do to you?
Frustrating work.
The mystery.
George, what about the book? What about your son's book? How much of it is true?
It's true.
Heard that?
What did he say?
He said it's true.
That's
True.
crazy.
My bag has never been that cold
Smith,
before.
it's true.
Give me a break, guys.
Are there women here who need our help?
No.
I'm not asking the men. I'm asking if there are women here who need our help. Was that yes?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know what they're doing, but they don't feel good.
We need to get out there?
Yeah.
All right, let's give him a light, guys, so we can get out.
After David left, we tried for the next hour to get these women
You
to
know
the Sowden
what? I
house.
love
And shockingly, there were a lot of connections.
Oh God,
Kinda
what did I
straddled.
do? Holy crap! I just messed that up, good book, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
All right, we're back. I think what's amazing to me is how often we see many shows where people are investigating and they feel things. And it's not that you don't want to believe them, but when you have an LS camera showing you exactly what they're feeling and where they're feeling it, I think it's just so validating.
I was going to say that, and I didn't, because it's so disturbing to me that I cannot go there. I have seen the files and I've seen the emails that they're seeing are from Epstein that allege that, and that just escapes everything that I can put them in my brain. But yeah, I've heard.
You know, when you talk about really powerful people in their contact because they've had everything in the world, what would be the next logical thing?
Get these women out. And then they gave us a very disturbing answer from the ghost box.
We played enough games, George. I want to talk to them.
You know you're playing games with us.
All right, George, if you don't want to help us out, we're just going to do our own thing then. And we're going to give them a way out. The girls have to walk toward the light. It's the only way, the easiest way out. He can't keep you from there. You guys don't have to be slaves here. You don't have to stay here.
Victims, follow the light. If you need the help, follow the light.
He said to me they've heard this before.
Why haven't they gone?
You heard him? He said the light.
I heard him.
He mocked me.
Deborah, very intuitive.
What kind of evil?
You ladies have to go to the light. I know you've heard this before, but you have to do it.
Why won't you go to the light?
He told me just now that he learned how to keep them from the light. As long as he's here, they're here.
I think that is amazing that the ghost box says because they move the light, and then Joe comes up with that. I mean, Joe, what would be the It's magic, right? I mean,
it's got to be. It's definitely above my pay grade. I'll tell you that. But it has to be some kind of occult, ritualistic, and truthfully, I don't know if it's something he found in a book. It might have been something he like learned to do, or you know what I mean? Like, I think you can have any kind of magical goal within any magical system, whether it be the Golden Dawn or some other thing. So it's everything's intention.
Yeah.
So if he had the intention to do that and figured something out, I mean, who knows? Maybe that demon in that house told him how to do it. I don't, you know what I mean? It's hard to
find
say.
that so freaking terrifying that they moved the light.
Like their souls are.
But I will say too,
he did something to.
If you think about with MK Ultra and all that, right? How they were trying to they were dosing people with drugs and trying to create split personalities and stuff to see if they could control people. I could easily say that would be hiding the light from someone.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you want to put it poetically, you don't even know where you are, who you are. So I don't know how he meant that. If it was some ritual he did to metaphysically bind their souls together and hide some, the other side of the light from them, or if he literally was meant through degradation and torture, these people can't even find peace in the afterlife, and now I can do what I want with them. I don't
also remember thinking that because you were saying they couldn't get past that room that we were in, there were mirrors all over the place, and I often wondered if they were set, especially at the bottom of the staircase and the top of the staircase, and if those weren't used to confuse.
Maybe. It's possible.
Didn't Alfie say? Alfie was talking about the mirror situation, right? The first time she was on.
I think she did. I think you're right, Bryce.
I feel like she did bring that up.
Yeah.
Like their souls to him.
In life?
I think so. I think it has something to do with.
Kate, MK Ultra is
it was a government experiment that happened 50s, 60s when LSD was being used on soldiers mostly and unwitting civilians to see what it did to their brain. And they were actually making jokes about it. They were going to retreats, and these scientists were actually dosing each other without telling each other. It was really crazy. They went so far overboard, but what they were doing was trying to get these soldiers to be almost like Manchurian candidates, do what they're told without question, machines, and do things that they didn't have any memory of when it was over. So it was really a horrible, horrible project that came to fruition. And so as far as we know, it was shut down, I think, in 73, Joe, or something like that?
Yeah, I think so, right? It was or the beginning of the 80s, some shit like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and Janine, that's interesting because there were some, I believe, Chinese ritual artifacts in the house. So that's interesting too.
It's a kind of sexual act or ritual that binds people together.
So would he do that before he killed him?
I think so. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
No.
I realized we were in way over our heads. None of us understood the rituals used by George Hodel to bind his victims to the basement, and at that point, I had no choice but to take Kelvin's advice.
When spirits say, get out, you get out, you go.
Before leaving, I promised the victims we'd be back to free them.
The photograph of the Minotaur would be...
You wanted to answer a question?
Alice in Chaos was a great book. I read it. Chaos. It's really good.
Tom O'Neill book.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Tom O'Neill book.
There's another one that was by another guy about the government experiments. It wasn't that.
Yeah, this is Tom O'Neill book.
Oh, all right. Well, there was another one that I'm talking about.
Right. All right, the Minotaur.
I guess you consider it a thought print. Dad was, studying and involved with the photographs and Man Ray, and the Minotaur, of course, I came to look at it as one of the potential positionings of Elizabeth Short's body.
In Greek mythology, the minotaur is a creature with the head and tail of a bull and the body of a man. King Minos had the Greeks build an elaborate maze to hold the minotaur in the center. Every 9 years, King Minos ordered 7 young men and 7 young women to be placed in the maze and offered as sacrificial victims to the minotaur as retribution for his son's death.
So, Karen, I just found something very interesting. So this whole minotaur thing has been stuck in my craw with George Hodel and Elizabeth Short. So I decided to look up.
This is one of my favorite things. So when we try and save money, our meetings stay at the house with us. And here's Joe, just like something stuck in my craw, gotta talk about it. And he's like doing the research.
I love that.
Making all these findings, and I love it. And that's part of why I love the show. We just grab the cameras and start rolling on everything that we do. And it was one of those moments.
Yeah.
And you'll have to excuse the horrible lighting because I was the DP and the sun was setting as we were talking until it was pitch black.
The Minotaur and mythology and literary things and whatnot, and I found it interesting that he makes a little cameo in Dante's Inferno.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, which is interesting because that's what Harrelson was reading. And
Yeah, Canto 1.
Yeah, well, in Canto, I believe it's 12.
And I don't think Joe knew that much or could even remember that much about George Odell and the whole Minotaur thing from Elizabeth Short. So the fact that he's researching, finding it.
Yeah, I remember like hearing it mentioned, and I was like, this is something, like I really can't let this one go.
Yeah. And I think that's cool because it's like, you know, you take something and it just keeps. Bryce, you even talk about this. You keep getting something and because you know you're not getting the right answer. Right?
Yep.
So it keeps repeating and repeating and repeating until you resolve it, right?
Yep, exactly. It's like it nags at you. I always say it's poking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, right? Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right before they enter the seventh circle of hell, which is circle of violence. Violence against neighbors, violence against yourself, violence against God, art, nature. So it's basically murder, suicide, sodomy.
Are you serious?
All that stuff, yeah. So it's basically any crime, murder, suicide, any violent act. And the Minotaur was kind of guarding the entrance to the seventh circle.
Question for you guys: do your guides keep bringing it up?
Yeah.
So it could be guides. It could also be just spirit in general. But the main thing is if we're not interpreting the message correctly or we didn't get the whole message, they'll keep going. And it's like it won't stop. So it's like I'll say, okay, you know, Joe will say something about the Minotaur. And then if it's not the whole message, they'll keep bringing it up to him over and over again, even though he already said it, until he gets the entire thing out.
Right. It's like that in a reading too. Like someone will be like, yeah, I know who Joe is. And I'm like, oh, is that your dad? And they're like, yeah, that's my dad, blah, blah.
And they're like, no, there's a Joe. There's another Joe. There's another Joe. There's another Joe.
Or like I'll say something about the dad and then I'm like, no, I can't. There's something else here. Like I didn't say what I had to say. They will not let it go. Like they won't let it
go.
They will impede a reading until you say what you. Even if the person, right, Bryce? Even if the person doesn't understand what it is you're supposed to say, until you've said it, you cannot relax.
Yeah, you can't relax, and it will. Yeah. And I try to like go away and like go to something else. They'll bring me back to the same thing.
Literally,
like over.
They'll
and over.
like trick us into talking about it again. I'm like, oh well, then like who is Andrew? And they're like, that's my dad's brother. And I'm like, here we are again. Obviously, like something we need to say.
Yeah.
That cat is Boozer, and she got her name because she talked like the last drunk at a party. Like just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. So we called her Boozer.
She was perpetually drunk.
She was the
sweetest cat. She was my first friend here.
Yeah, we lost her.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Boozer.
Virgil and Dante.
Whoa. Guarding the seventh circle?
Like the entrance to it. They had to get past the Minotaur in order to get into
the
first.
Joe, were you there when Kelvin was talking about the portal?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you just described exactly what he was talking. He could not find the words. He's literally trying to describe what he was seeing,
This was the portal
find the
in
words.
in
the Los Feliz house. He was just so spun up that he couldn't put heads or tails on it. He couldn't find the words, but he said it was this dark tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And it curved, like a really steep curve,
Mm-hmm.
and there was something there guarding it. I wonder if that's exactly what you were talking about.
Well, because in the book they're coming down. It's like a landslide. They're coming down to go into the seventh circle, and apparently in the book, the story is that the rubble and the landslide or whatever it is happened because when Jesus was crucified, at the moment he died, there was a great earthquake, and all the stuff.
Right.
And apparently they were going down, and the Minotaur is on this hill where they're trying to move these rocks to get in, and they have to like basically taunt it and bait him to get him to move out of the way so they can quickly run in. And what's interesting is that I've just been reading, and they're basically all saying that the Minotaur is really just supposed to represent the violence of man, like a personification of like rage and no self-control, and the duality of like the beast inside of man, and it's just all very interesting.
But wait, now we have a link between Perelson reading that Canto 1 in Dante's Inferno when he committed suicide, killed his wife, and then tried to kill his daughter. We also have Hodel using the Minotaur for Elizabeth Short. We have Man Ray with his Minotaur photograph.
Right.
Where else are we going to find this Minotaur reference? Because that's crazy pants.
I know. Whenever I'm looking at something, when a stupid little detail stands out to me, like this Minotaur thing, I always know there's a reason. Even if Spirit doesn't tell me, I know that it's the trail that I'm supposed to follow. And I really feel like this Minotaur thing it's a big clue.
Well, it would make sense because this whole damn thing is a labyrinth from hell.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't mean that in a literal way. It really is. It's like a spider web.
Did the police understand, or maybe even Steve Hodel, who came up with the Minotaur theory?
Steve Hodel. He actually is the one. He's really good at sorting through that. And when we saw the Man Ray photograph of the Minotaur, it was immediate in his brain where he went to the position of Elizabeth Short at 39th and Norton, and it was just so obvious. It was so obvious. And then he started attributing other Man Ray stuff to her body.
Well, I just read too somewhere that the Minotaur was a big symbol in surrealist art.
Absolutely it was.
So it would only make sense if, obviously, he's into all of it. I mean, we know this is no secret. But did Steve say why he thought his father used this, or he just thought he was emulating?
Because he revered Man Ray, and
so
he
he's just chalking it up to...
He wanted to be
and
a
they were good friends.
They were very good friends.
So he's just chalking up to him, like paying tribute to a friend, or...
attributing it to the most violent surrealistic art he could possibly get. So basically George Hodel was like, oh, you don't want to accept me into your art world? Well, let me just show you what I'm capable of.
Right.
And he went out and committed this horrific act. And he was like, I'm the greatest surrealist that ever lived, and I'm never going to get caught. So what do you think about that? I have no doubt that Man Ray knew he did it. I have no doubt that William Copley knew he did it. Edmund Teskey knew he did it.
Right.
I think all of these guys knew that he did it, and they just took it to their grave. And the fact that it's just this Minotaur thing, what? And then we have Kelvin talking about this passage into hell and something blocking him. This is insane.
Yeah,
I don't understand this at all.
It's a little unnerving to think that...
It's almost like they manifested it.
Right, I was just going to say that, like, they constructed this in the afterlife. Like, they used their energy to energetically put... It's like almost like surrealist art, but with energy. Like that they're still doing this on the other side.
I don't know, but I'm just stunned that we just have another link now. I mean, we just made it through Dante's Inferno, which Perelson was reading when he did all this crap.
I knew...
What the hell was he doing?
From the moment I heard that detail about him leaving that book open, I don't think he was just reading that part either. I think he had that open prior to the murder. Like, set it up because he knew that was going to be found. I don't think he did it after.
Well, we knew he planned it. I mean, now we know that Lillian wasn't...
Right.
She didn't die from the hammer strike. She died... He strangled her.
Right.
It took 3 minutes.
I think I felt that when I was first in the Lost Police house.
She just gave me a pain and that feeling again of not being able to breathe.
The Lost Police murders happened before Elizabeth Short? Or
no, after. It was 1959. December 6, 1959. So it was, 12 years after Elizabeth Short. So that just tells me that this is just continuing on and on and on and on.
Very interesting.
But this whole Minotaur thing, we have to delve into that because apparently either the surrealists were using it, these guys were, I don't know if they're conjuring it or what the hell they were doing.
But that's definitely another clue.
Wow.
So I really feel like from here on out we have to start
You know, because we're doing an investigation, yes, in the physical world, and thank God we have you, because people like me are always our heads are up in the clouds, we're paying attention to the energy.
Right.
But I feel like from now on, it's up to me, Maureen, Kelvin, we have to pay attention to the signs that our guides, that spirit, that the victims are leaving, and I feel like the Minotaur is another big clue. Obviously, Spirit wants us to know what's going on because we all wouldn't have found each other. Right. This all wouldn't have come together so easily. I mean, we are literally being led piece by piece, breadcrumb by breadcrumb, and a lot of it isn't. We almost can't even take credit for half of it because a lot of it is just stuff that's like, they're like, look over here, pay attention, and then all of a sudden, like, the answer's there, and we're like, okay, I don't know where the hell that came from, but it seems like the river is carrying us to the answer.
The river Styx.
Right. I think that there's so much in there when we look back at, if we were making a scripted film, this would all foreshadow it. We're talking about these tunnels and these horrible links and things that we just didn't understand. Don't forget, almost 9 years ago, things that we literally didn't understand, the labyrinth of the houses and the labyrinth that we were going to end up in at the Navarro house. And, all these things that just kept coming together that, excuse me, in that moment of Joe coming up and spitballing all this stuff, just literally the spider was just like moving out further and moving out further.
Wait, somebody asked about the house on a haunted hill in the Ennis house.
The gate that's there.
Me and Bryce have never been to the Ennis house, and I've only ever seen it from the backyard of the murder house. So I wouldn't even know. But I haven't seen. I saw the original house on the haunted hill, I think, but I think there was another one in the '90s. Is that what you're talking about? Whoever asked that?
Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Me and Bryce really try to stay away from a lot of stuff because we don't want to be influenced, because we never know, where we're gonna end up, and so we don't really we try not to Google a lot.
Ask questions, just
just ask questions. We'll just kind of look at each other and be like, "Are you lost too?" Okay, and just move on.
Okay, so really quick, how many of you guys saw the People magazine article about the Astor Hotel that they claim now was the murder site of Elizabeth Short? And I don't know if you guys saw this article today. Steve Hodel sent it out earlier, and we took a look at it. And Karen, you want to talk about it first?
What?
Oh, I'll talk about it. So this was always a possibility for us to go investigate, was the Astor Hotel. And it's a little dump here in Los Angeles. And it's always been rumored that Elizabeth Short was murdered there, because back in the 1940s, about of Elizabeth's murder, the hotel manager called and said, hey, there's a lot of blood in the house here, in one of our rooms here, and we think there's so much blood, we think it's where Elizabeth Short was murdered. So because we were having hard drive problems, I did not transfer the photos. Can you find it? I'm trying to find it right now. Well-organized machine here, folks. Why can't I find it? Did you find it?
You're spelling it wrong.
Well, wait. Find the. Okay. So, high tech here. So this is a hotel motel that they spoke about, and inside one of the rooms, I need the better one. Inside one of the rooms, a new group, went in there with some forensic people and said that they found the hidden secret room that Elizabeth Short was killed in. So we had Joe and Bryce take a look at it. It's Mercury retrograde, right? Everything's messed up. And they went in, and of course we can't find the photos now.
I'm working on it. Keep talking.
I'm trying. I'm vamping. and not very good at it.
I'm working on it.
Hurry. Here, it's right here. It's right here. Creepers. Only creepers. This is it. This is where they claim Elizabeth Short was
murdered.
Move
over to the right a little. There you go.
There it is. This is where they're claiming Elizabeth Short was murdered, in this little tiny room here. And then we scroll down a little bit further. Beep, 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 beep. Good Lord, even the photo. Even the photos. What is vamp? It means making crap up until you get what you need. And so we just keep talking and talking and talking until
until we find the photos.
We find the photos.
All right.
We're vamping.
A bunch of junk.
Yeah, no.
They made a mess.
Yeah, they made a mess. No, the one where they opened. There.
That one.
Yes. Good Lord.
It was populating. What can I tell you?
And this is the other photo, and that's them ripping that wall apart in this hotel room to see this is where Elizabeth Short was murdered. So we asked Joe and Bryce to take a look at it, and we'll let Joe go first to see what he felt in that room.
Oh, you want me to do it now?
Part
of we're doing it on the live.
Well, we're going to give a little sneak peek here, and then
a little sneak peek. Well,
in the Rowdy Pub tonight.
Well, I will say, I do feel like I pick up on blood on the floor in that small room, whether it's on the surface or like maybe soaked into some wood or something, or maybe it's just a little bit in a corner. I do feel like there is some, evidence, DNA, blood, something in that room.
Okay, and that's all I'm going to let you hear. The rest we'll do in the Rowdy Pub. Just your initial thought when you looked at the photos.
So just to stay on the same topic, lots of blood belonging to different victims. I don't feel it's just one victim.
Okay. So you guys know all of our gravers in the pub tonight, right after we finish here, we'll be live over there on the website, and we are going to go into depth on these pictures as well as another suspect of supposedly the Black Dahlia and Zodiac killers.
I'm gonna go off. Go ahead.
Yes.
Not here.
Sis.
Not here.
Not here.
All right. The bootleggers. Back to the Schumachers.
Prohibition started in 1920 and it lasted until 1933. Prohibition opened the door to the era of bootleggers, speakeasies, mobsters, and citywide corruption, with city officials and LAPD taking payoffs from the mobsters in order to run the liquor through the city. The bootleggers supplied the illegal liquor, the speakeasies sold it, and the mob, politicians, and police profited, making it literally the most corrupt era in Los Angeles history. Houses built during this era were called prohibition houses because so many of them had hidden bars and compartments and booze that was concealed behind walls, in closets, in basements, and in tunnels underneath the houses.
There are prohibition houses all over Los Feliz, including the Sowden and Schumacher houses. But we still didn't know what the connection was between the two houses. Was it the Sowdens? Was it George Hodel? Was it Lloyd Wright? Was it bootlegging and the mafia? Or was it some type of spiritual tunnel system we'd yet to discover? During the Los Feliz house investigation, Joe and Marie went to the basement to do a dowsing rod session. At the time, neither of them were told about Harry and Florence Schumacher. So when Joe connected with Harry, he was wrongly told Harold Perlson went by Harry.
Do you know if he went by Harry? First name Harry. I have him, but I keep hearing my name is Harry. He said, "You don't have to ask me any questions, I'm Harry." I don't understand who Harry is.
Did you build the house? Rods are crossing.
Okay, Harry. Are you involved with any other murders other than your family? Cross the rods if yes. But don't lie to me.
I have no idea if Harold Perlson ever went by Harry, but I do know that Harry Schumacher never went by Harold, not on his military card nor his death certificate. Joe had one more question for Harry, and the answer shocked us all.
Did those bones, are they there because of you? I promise I won't ask another question about them. something to do with him then.
It was time to take a deep dive into Harry and Florence Schumacher.
Harry.
Now, before we get into that, I'll answer your questions about liquor and whatnot. Deep Chihuahua, I don't know if it was the government. I wouldn't pass them at that point because the temperance anti-prohibition or the pro-prohibition people were very adamant about that. But what they were doing was they were distilling different types of alcohol. There was ethanol and then the wood alcohol, and that's industrial alcohol. You can't drink it. And they were so desperate to bootleg and make money, they were using wood alcohol and then filtering it down. But they put like lilac in it and all kinds of flavors. It tasted like absolute garbage. It was called bathtub gin, and that killed a lot of people.
Amy, I thank God I wasn't alive then.
No kidding. And what, you could have got liquor easier during Prohibition than you could have going down to the liquor store. I just didn't know what you were getting. Sometimes that's the problem. So anyway.
Harry and Florence Schumacher got married in 1905 in Washington State. On the census report, Harry claims to be a produce merchant who owns a 1,600 square foot house. By 1920, the Schumachers are in their 30s and living in a 1,700 square foot home in Seattle, Washington. On the census report, he lists his occupation as fruit and produce broker for Pacific Fruit and Produce. By 1925, the Schumachers are living in a tiny bungalow in Alhambra, just outside of Los Angeles. That same year, they commissioned architect Harry Warner to build the 9,000 square foot Los Feliz house. Harry and his brother Orlando have also been busy setting up their own business, the Schumacher Brothers Produce and Distribution. They had a warehouse in Northern California in the small town of Turlock. Why Turlock? Is it possible that the Schumachers had connections from their time in Seattle to bring Canadian whiskey across the border? Turlock is only a 14-hour drive to the Canadian border and also the perfect midpoint to move liquor down to Los Angeles. Harry and Florence move into the house by the end of 1926, and by 1928, Harry delivers the largest carloads of strawberries and red onions in history. 2 months later, they'll both be dead. Harry's brother Orlando hangs on to the house until the end of Prohibition. This all led to two big questions. First, were Harry and his brother Orlando running illegal liquor down the California coast for the mob by hiding it under the flats of produce in their trucks? And second, with their deaths only 3 weeks apart, were Harry and Florence murdered?
1924 was a big year for our criminal players. George Hodel was working as a crime reporter for the Los Angeles Record. His initial beat was Vice, so he got to know the mobsters, the politicians, and the LAPD. At the same time, George's good friend, Fred Sexton, was money running for Tony the Hat Carnero's floating craps games. Fred Sexton was also important to Carnero because his father helped to build the tunnels beneath downtown Los Angeles. Tony Carnero was king rum runner in California, and he used those tunnels to move his illegal liquor around town, especially to get booze to his wealthy and prominent buddies, such as Deputy District Attorney Burren Fitz and District Attorney Asa Keys. In order to ensure that he remained king rum runner, Tony Carnero began knocking off produce vendors. In a small photo album belonging to George Hodel, there were 8 black and white photos of men. One of them was Tom Evans, a known gangster working with Tony Carnero, and another called Kent Kane Parrott. He was a lawyer who ruled the Los Angeles politicos, the LAPD, and the mob. Was it possible?
Where those photos were where from?
Yeah.
In a photo album that after George passed away, Steve Hodel was given that small album by just June. Hello.
Can you hear me? Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
So Steve was given that small album by George's June after he passed away. And those photos were inside that small album.
That's a very, it never dawned on me, but it's very friggin' weird that he had that photo album.
That's strange.
That's a weird, and like, not to be like stereotypical, but what freaking straight dude has like an album of like his like besties? You know what I mean? Like, what? It like really
it makes me wonder if it wasn't more of a blackmail type thing. Trophies. things like that. We don't know. George may have taken him. He was a photographer in his. He loved photography, so he may have taken him himself. The one.
All right, it makes it a little less weird if he was a photographer.
But a dark room in the Sowden house, guys. He was a very talented photographer, actually.
You know what? That makes I take most of it back. Then it's not that weird. Then if he was a photographer, I could totally see it.
Yeah,
but I
think it's strange, but I don't know in what way. I haven't decided in what way.
Yeah, I haven't decided in what way I don't like it, but I know I don't.
I also find it amazing that, and I can't help but wonder if Spirit was involved, is that George was so specific that all of his belongings be burned, all his paperwork, every last bit of it.
It's wild.
And that survived, and June gave it to him, and it started Steve down this entire path.
Right.
That little book of photos.
That was obviously Spirit.
Yeah,
true
story. His entire path, because he saw that one picture and thought it was Elizabeth Short, and whether it is or not, I am not going to debate. But it started him down the path, and it just tumbled like the rest of it.
Yeah. All right.
Possible that this was the link between the two houses.
And also remember that name, Ken Kane Parrott, because he comes into play in season 2.
Sure
does.
There's a couple notes that would support the connection. Like the Schumachers, Tom Evans was from Seattle, and about the same time that the Schumachers set up their warehouse and moved to Los Angeles, Tony Canero, who had already established a connection bringing Canadian whiskey across the border and down the California coast, was moving his shop from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Finally, in 1955, while sitting at a craps table in Vegas, Cornero fell off his chair and was immediately dead of a supposed heart attack. His body and drink were immediately removed before the coroner could arrive. Most believe he was poisoned. Not your average mob hit, but makes me wonder if the Schumachers were poisoned.
I also discovered that around that same time, the mob had infiltrated the coroner's office, which enabled them to put pressure on the coroner to fudge not only the death certificates, but the autopsy findings. I was going to need to find a medical examiner to look at the death certificates to explain how arthritis was a contributing cause of death for Harry and Florence Schumacher.
I found a relative of Harry and Florence, Debbie Schumacher.
I have to show you guys this. Lisa got this for me for a Christmas gift. It's an original chip from Tony Canero's boat, the Rex.
What?
Wait, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, an original chip. It's one of my things.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
You know, most of it ended up at the bottom of the Pacific because they raided all of his boats and tossed everything overboard. To have one that exists is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I find this amazing that we found Deb Schumacher because there were so few Schumacher relatives from Harry and Florence. They had one daughter that's we don't have the full story on it, but the fact that we found Debbie and she was right on board with us just blew our minds.
Yeah, this was crazy.
She had done this entire workup of her entire family, so I think it's just really amazing.
Great-grandfather and Harry's father.
Do you know what I get off of this Four Wagon Tales? Basically history. I feel history. I don't feel anything else but cool history. And Tony Canero, for the most part, he really wasn't a violent guy. He was not. He just wanted to have his ships and gamble. And, his hand was forced a few times to protect himself, but other than that, I just think it's a really cool gift. Yeah.
And I think Tony Canero was really handsome, very suave. Him and Ben,
they were
very suave, good-looking guy.
Frederick were brothers. I was hoping she could support or debunk our bootlegger theory.
I just found Harry. I had all the other ones. Harry, I couldn't find after the 1920 census. I couldn't find him. He and Florence. What I came across is they were both, they were in Everett the last time in 1920. My family is farmers, when they Kansas and stayed there for a couple of generations, and then they all started migrating. They went northwest, to Washington, Idaho, and Washington, and then there, some of them turned around and then started going back, to Los Angeles, and Harry's line, his direct line, I'm thinking like Harry, Harry's selling fruit on the roadside, and all of a sudden he's building a house, having it designed and built for him in Los Feliz, one of the upper scale neighborhoods. And I'm thinking, how could he afford that? I mean, I just didn't think of them being, I knew they were successful. A lot of my two mothers were moderately successful in the sense of, but not that successful.
I'm just glad to hear you say that, because I kept looking at it and going, what do I not understand about fruit distribution? How could they afford this house?
Right.
I don't know how they did it, but it sort of confirms for me that they did not do it through fruit distribution. Would you concur?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would guess that too.
And I think the other kind of suspicious thing that they were possibly involved in bootlegging was Orlando, Harry's brother. He held on to that property for the next, I believe, 3 years, renting it out. But he didn't allow it to go up for probate auction until Prohibition was over.
I wondered if he was with Harry as far as running the distribution company that he had.
I can tell you this. Apparently when Harry and Florence lived in Everett, Washington until about 23 or 24, then they moved to Los Angeles. Orlando shortly followed. He followed with them to Los Angeles, worked closely with Harry on the fruit distribution business. And then when Harry and Florence passed away, I'm wondering if his only source of income was that house and the possible bootlegging that was going on out of it. So that was sort of his side gig, if you want to put it like that.
I have him, 1930, he's in Los Angeles.
Right.
And I've got her as a shipper of fruits and vegetables.
Right.
Is his occupation. And his wife died in 1933, but I think that they were separated.
Okay.
And then he departed. I've got him, he departed in 1935, October 35. He went to Hawaii.
Really?
He left from San Francisco.
Karen and I reacted to the Hawaii information because Hawaii was becoming a denominating factor in our cast of characters. George Hodel moved there after fleeing Los Angeles. The Sowdens were frequent visitors, and in the Sowden studio, we clearly hear Hawaii mentioned on the
Can I ask a
Geoport.
question?
Yes.
You know how every person, not every, but a lot of people over the age of 55 in New York will move down to Florida and
Boy, are they in for a luck.
Right. Is that the same thing for California and Hawaii? Is that California's Florida?
No. California is beautiful. I mean, where are you running to?
Yeah.
Right. I just was wondering because I'm I know for a fact how many times this Hawaii has come up.
And Tamara ended up in Hawaii.
Right. And I'm is this just if someone was trying to connect the dots for New Yorkers, and I'd be like, babe, everyone in there and their mother moves down to Florida when they retire.
Right.
It's not a it's not a thing.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering.
Nope.
Now, I did find one newspaper article that said that the Schumacher Distributing Company was looking to start importing pineapples. And the only place you can get those is Hawaii.
And also what's interesting about Hawaii is it is the biggest import of any type of trafficking.
Really quick, not only did he work as a psychiatrist in Hawaii, he worked violent offenders, which I find absolutely hilarious.
Probably encouraging them.
Now. So imagine what you could bring in from Hawaii to the United States back in the 20s as well. And then what we know is that in 1929, Fred Zelnick and his wife Laia Mara lived in the house.
Oh, they moved in 1929?
Yes. Yeah. And
right
then,
after they died.
Yes, almost immediately. And then they're still.
So they didn't buy it; they just moved in. So Orlando must have rented it out.
Yes, that is correct. So they were there until 1930. Now, in 1931, the house still owned by Harry, or still in his name, had another rental tenant, and that was Wilford Beaton and then his wife Louise. And their son Donald, who was 20 years old, actually died in the house. He died from complications of a tennis injury, a blister
which caused infection, possibly sepsis. So that is the other confirmed death that we have in the house. In 1932, on December...
What drew George Hodel to Hawaii, the same for Tamar? I don't know. Or was it just because she never went there with George? So we have no idea how.
Hawaii wasn't a state yet, it was a territory.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about, I think there was extradition and all that other garbage, but maybe it just made things more complicated.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
Amy.
6, it went up for auction, and it was purchased by John Stauffer.
Wow, that same day as the murder. Well, yeah.
Isn't that a little weird?
No, Tamar did not go looking for him. He was already in the Philippines by the time she was old enough. Don't forget, he was only in Hawaii for a few years before he moved to the Philippines.
There was a second weird anomaly to the house. The first person to own it and live in it was named Harry. The last person to own it and live in it was named Harold.
What I did want to tell you, though, is going back to the speakeasy in the Glendower house, the ones that we found in the area, they were.
And also, just to be clear, I think you guys are confusing Tamar with Fauna Hodel, who was Tamar's daughter. Fauna did go looking for George and trying to speak with him, where Tamar always had contact with him.
Quite the rage back in the 20s. And everybody seemed to have one behind a bookshelf or behind a fireplace or whatever.
Where they hide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought of that too. I thought, I bet she's got some kind of like hiding spots in that.
Right. The Glendower house, what's really unusual about it, it was a ballroom. And the bar was a permanent bar with 6 bar stools, with a safe behind it and a small little refrigerator. In the attic, like almost like a dumbwaiter had been installed between the second.
You know, I think Fauna just wanted to connect with George, like anybody would.
Right, you want to know where she came from.
Yeah, you want to know where you came from. You want to know all those things. So, no, to the best of my knowledge, Fauna was the one reaching out to George. George was not reaching Fauna. Remember correctly.
That's what I remember.
And 3rd floors to haul things up and down. If it was Harry and Florence doing it, it wasn't just that they were possibly bootlegging, but the fact that this was a party place.
On the drive to the Los Feliz house, Joe mentioned Hollywood and parties.
I am getting a little bit of that old Hollywood vibe from this place. I don't know why, but they just showed me a party there in the past, but I feel like I'm looking at, again, another time, another life. But yeah, it's some kind of like party event. I can hear the music. I feel like everybody's really dressed up.
I didn't think much of it at the time, but now with Karen's research, it did make me wonder how this small town couple could not only afford that house, but were able to throw the lavish parties.
This was a place where people would come.
I think that's a bigger point, is not only were they throwing lavish parties, but they never made the press. In other words, you know, the society pages talked about every single person's party, who attended, where it was, what was served for dinner, and what people.
Right, it was like a well-kept secret.
Yes, and yet not one single party is noted from this address. Period. And it's the same thing with the Sowdens.
Right.
To literally party, and that, as a retired police officer, that made me think, well, how could they possibly get away with that? Well, a lot of places were just doing quick payoffs. It was no big deal. You pay the cops, you pay whoever, they'll look the other way. It was done all the time. And what's interesting is, as I was researching this, there's another speakeasy that was down the street, and it was called the Silent Woman Pub.
You know, Duncan, we'll get into all that with Steve Hodel next Friday. I don't know if Fauna had to go looking for Tamar or not, but it was her, not Tamar, looking for George Hodel. And I remember the history of Fauna and Tamar. I know there was Fauna 1 and Fauna 2. So I don't know.
2 Faunas?
Yes, 2 Faunas.
There's Fauna Elizabeth and.
Yeah, Fauna Elizabeth and Fauna.
Fauna Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Yep.
So there were 2 Faunas. I get them confused onto who was connected and who wasn't, and I apologize for that. I have to wait for
They're
Steve.
both Tamar's daughters?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That part I didn't realize. Okay.
Yes. Fauna 1 and Fauna 2 are both Tamar's daughters.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a place where all of the movie stars went, and it was only about a half mile away. And the movie stars' names are actually carved in the bar till this day.
Wow.
Fred Zelnick knew about this house. He found it. And I'm wondering if maybe the silent movie stars at the time were partying at the Glendower house, since it was such a really big place that was hands-off, obviously hands-off with the cops.
I found that odd too, because I thought, these are like small-town people coming from Washington. Why are they like big partiers and have this ballroom? That didn't make sense to me either. But all of this, it's all coming. He got kind of like caught up in the wrong stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. And one other thing that I wanted to tell you was there was an intercom hanging on the wall. And at first I thought it was a telephone, an old-timey telephone. And I did some research on it, and I found out it was actually an inter-house intercom system from the 20s. So the bartender had full control over the intercom system, the refrigerator, the bar, and then you had, a couple of doors you had to get into this place.
Thing that's got my curiosity is what killed them? How did they die? I thought that's really weird. That doesn't sound like a normal,
Harry, he was just 40, and it said on his death certificate he died from pneumonia with a contributing cause of arthritis. And then Florence was only 41, and she died from sepsis and arthritis. I mean, it's very strange. And what I can tell you is that when Tony Cranero, the big bootlegger of the day, when he would run into either competition or he would find someone that had basically screwed him over, a lot of them were fruit vendors, believe it or not. And he actually ended up killing 7 of them in 1 year. And he had a ship that he would park 3 miles offshore called the Rex. And it was a gambling boat. And he said it was international waters. He would use these runner boats to go in and out from Santa Monica Pier and run people back and forth. And the cops would stop him, and he would take the boat, the Rex, and move it down coast 3 or 4 miles and then move it to a different pier. So he was just playing cat and mouse with the cops.
That's interesting, though. So, it just sounds like all Harry got kind of like things into his head, got caught up in some shit that he didn't do,
Yeah, that was the big question, was how did he go from a fruit vendor to this quite prosperous man? It's been a very fascinating journey. That's what this show has become, is a treasure hunt.
Wow.
After, let's talk about that in the Rowdy Pub later, because I've never heard that
before.
Yeah. Should we bring that up and talk about that in the Rowdy Pub later on the site?
Yeah.
This is, wow, really fascinating. Yeah, you're right. I would be.
I knew you'd be enthralled.
Wow, that is just too much. Anyway, okay.
All right, thank you so much, and we will be in touch soon.
Well, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Well, she agrees with us.
No kidding.
When you work death investigation,
I find that crazy. It's like, she agrees with us. My mind was going a lot like talk to the Sowden children. They were like, so you found the deep dark secret of my grandpa's
that was crazy.
And,
that was insane.
Yeah, and this woman was the same way. It's like, I the same thing, and also was worried that they had been killed themselves. This is one of my favorite parts because it's Karen talking to such a renowned medical examiner.
Oh yeah,
intro.
Dr. Doreen Lusnick, I worked with at the University of Tennessee when I was in Knoxville teaching there. She was just wonderful. She did a segment of the 10-week course that I put together there, and so knowledgeable, so kind, and she walked the students through everything in the autopsy suite, and it was just such a kind soul and so knowledgeable that when we were looking for a medical examiner, most of the people I had worked with in Jacksonville, my favorite, Maggie Aruza, she had retired, unfortunately, with dementia. She's since passed. And everybody else in Jacksonville, they were just too swamped. Dr. Malou made time, and God bless her for it. And I know she's got a thick accent, but Lisa's done a great job with the subtitles. So just hang in there, learn, She's great.
The first rule of law that you're taught is to treat every death investigation as a homicide until it's proven otherwise. So far, I had 5 deaths that I wanted a little more information on. Harry and Florence Schumacher, Lillian and Harold Perelson, and Jack Sowden. I did a FOIA request for autopsies and death certificates. There were some surprises in those reports, so I wanted to talk with my colleague, medical examiner Dr. Dorinka Malusnik. First would be Lillian Perelson. Turns out, she wasn't bludgeoned to death with a hammer. Harold Perelson strangled her to death.
What my question is, we know that Dr. Harold Perelson murdered her. We know that she was struck with a hammer, and she did have asphyxia via suffocation. She did have marks on her neck. My question is, basically, would the hammer strike have been what killed her, or would the asphyxiation have been what killed her, or would they work together?
It seems like she was possibly disabled or...
No, Dr. Malusnik is still alive.
She is still alive. My other colleague, Dr. Maggie Aruza, unfortunately, passed away.
Or made possibly unconscious, because you're absolutely right. The described this big laceration looks like a really deep laceration. I was not impressed with the brain trauma as much.
That's what I thought. It was like a glancing blow instead of a direct hit to me.
Yeah, because there's some superficial abrasion, there's a 3.5 centimeters, an inch and a half laceration. I don't recall them describing any fractures, but interestingly, they describe a tear in the dura, which is the hard covering of the brain, and that's the area of the neck. So it looks like the neck really definitely suffered major trauma.
Wow.
Because of the injury that was described in the neck region in general, I mean, my main concern would be definitely strangulation. I mean, that's as a mechanism.
I'm going to explain as best I can. When you have a tear in the dura, the covering of the brain during a strangulation, okay, that means the grip is around the neck. It's not just compression, it's this.
Right. Like shaking baby almost.
Yes. I didn't want to say that on that film. I'll say it now. This is absolutely him. Just that's what that's.
And I have to go back to when we investigated, and all our mediums, especially, just kept picking it up and picking it up and picking it up. We did not know. And I just find that absolutely amazing and absolute proof of Joe's abilities. Can't doubt that crap.
Okay. So it looked like maybe the hammer strike was a secondary as opposed to the primary?
In the sequence of events, probably came first, because she does have a lot of hemorrhage under the scalp of that. Had she been dead from circulation, I think hit on the head, I would not expect a lot of subdoleo, subscalp hemorrhage.
Understood.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Possibly she was, possibly...
Amy, look that up. We're sure
I can't remember 100%.
We'll look it up and put it on the website.
Yeah, great question.
Stated because of the blow, maybe rendered, disoriented, possibly maybe even temporarily unconscious, but you're absolutely right, was not killer.
Okay.
And then
horrible.
It will be easy to subdue somebody by strangulating her.
That's what I wanted to know. He also used the hammer to strike his 18-year-old daughter. She fled and actually got away. She was bleeding quite heavily when she fled. And
was there a lot of blood at the scene?
Yes, there was. From primary source info, there was quite a bit of blood on the upper levels, especially in the bathroom and in the master bedroom, and then down the stairs and out the front door. Can you, just based on this report, can you sort of describe what you think, and this is certainly not set in stone, the sequence of events were for Lillian Perelson, and, based on this, what he would have done first and second?
I mean, to me, the blow to the head would be first because of the described amount of hemorrhage under the scalp.
And then after that, he would have had to, it looked like manual strangulation to you, based on the
Manual strangulation, yeah. Based on everything, seems like a manual strangulation, yeah.
Okay. And how long, not to be too graphic, but how long does that normally take? How long do you think he would have had to put pressure on her neck for her to expire?
See, if the pressure really strong enough to basically cut off the blood supply, she would become unconscious for just that. Leave the head trauma aside, she would become unconscious in 15 seconds, but it would take about 3 minutes for the brain to be deprived of blood supply, meaning oxygen, for her to sustain irreversible damage to the nerve cells of the brain.
Okay, so based on your experience and mine, this was definitely personal. This was he was right up on her. This was not a
strangulations are usually personal and very passionate.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not really that easy to strangle an adult. Now, of course, if she's incapacitated, it'll be a little bit easier. But it's still, you have to apply pressure for a considerable amount of time. And especially, let's say the pressure is uneven because it's a hand strangulation and there's some blood going to the brain. It takes even longer than 3 minutes.
Wow.
Because of the uneven pressure and some blood possibly still coming to, the brainstem or some of the vital centers. So yeah, it takes some dedication and commitment to strangle an adult.
Okay. I have one little shocking surprise for you. Dr. Perelson was a heart specialist, and he was doing some research into headaches and migraines. And what he had published, he actually published this article, and he showed a photograph of the occipital portion of the brain, and I don't know what all of the technical terms are, but there's a tendon that runs up there, and he thought that if you could dull that with either Novocaine or lidocaine, that you could help with migraines, and it was actually the exact same spot that he struck his wife with the hammer.
Oh, wow. That is really interesting, yeah. Obviously, he counted on that particular spot to be, I guess, trajectory that would transfer some of the forces to the brain to potentially disable certain functions.
Right.
Possibly.
Maybe based on his research. I just thought that was very interesting. When I put the two photographs of her autopsy and then his research photo together, I could put it on a transparency and they would actually match up perfectly. And I just thought that was a little strange.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
While Karen worked on the forensic investigation, I dove into the occult. We seemingly had portals at both the Los Feliz and the Sowden houses. But according to our mediums and the ghost boxes, there was another, more sinister layer to the Sowden house that was invited in using dark magic rituals.
They keep saying it was welcomed in or invited in, so I don't know what the hell has been going on in this house, in this space, but something was opened up somewhere along the lines, and I don't think it was unintentional.
Are you getting any sense of era when this may have happened?
I see too, because it feels like something was invited in, like this happened twice.
In 1951, George Hodel sells the house to Dr. Mazur. The Mazur family stayed for about 4 years, and then, according to their grandson, the spiritual activity had picked up in there, and they abandoned the house. Unbeknown to them, they rented it out, and the people that they rented it.
By the way, in between that time is when Tamar and Michelle Phillips snuck into the Sowden house while it was abandoned from the Mazur family. Went down to the basement, and the story goes, I believe from Michelle Phillips, that Tamar saw the spirit of a woman down there. And she said, she herself said that there were trapped souls in the basement.
Wow.
She, many years before me, promised to go back and get those souls released. And I think if you guys saw the episode for Ghost Adventures, they had Fauna Hodel on it, and Fauna went back and told Tamar that they released the spirits in there. They had not, and I've kind of never forgiven them for that, but each his own.
Now turned it into a satanic temple. They found out, they kicked them out, shuttered the doors, and didn't do anything with the house. It sat abandoned. And after that, Tamar Hodel had an experience.
Tamar broke in during its vacancy, when it was abandoned kind of for 10 years. She broke in and snuck around and actually had some psychic paranormal experiences. She saw a a woman in the basement and stuff like that.
Did architect Lloyd Wright somehow prime the house as a portal?
It's very interesting because I'm getting not just architecture, the word like architect, because the energy is in the house.
A quick look into Lloyd Wright and his designs revealed that he had a vast knowledge of sacred geometry, sigils, and he thought of himself as a mystic. And mysticism is a very broad term for anything occult or supernatural, and it can be used for good or evil. It all comes down to intent. The year Lloyd Wright designed the house, there was over 400 active occult groups in Southern California. He called the style Mayan Revivalist, and Maya literally means illusion, magic, that which exists but is constantly changing. It is really hard to believe that Jack and Ruth didn't understand the power of that house. We may never be able to discover Wright's intention when building the Sowden's house, but one thing I was convinced of.
This is a portal to hell.
After Jack and Ruth Sowden divorced, Jack led a very colorful life as an openly gay man. Now, LA may be vast, but in a lot of ways it's still a small town, and the gays, well, they found each other. Filmmaker and poet James Broughton wrote about Jack in his book called Coming Unbuttoned. Here's what Broughton wrote about his friend. Quote, "One seldom saw Jack Sowden eat anything. He was rich enough to live on a continuous diet of whiskey, gentlemen callers, whiplash repartee, and sexual sport with his sister. A brash and bawdy host, he would entertain entire football teams or squadrons of the Navy, as well as celebrities in transit, like Ramon Navarro." In 1941, a strange incident.
I would have liked to have met Jack Sowden.
Me
I
too.
think he would have been an absolute blast to be around.
Blast.
Definitely.
It happened at Jack's house. His really good friend, a nightclub singer named Bruz Fletcher, was found unconscious in the garage from carbon monoxide poisoning. Jack carried Bruz to the bedroom and found him dead the next morning. It was ruled a suicide after a superficial investigation. Jack would also die an untimely death in 1958. He was living alone in San Francisco. A maintenance worker found Jack unconscious and called for an ambulance. He was rushed to the hospital with a major brain injury and multiple bruises all over his body. Efforts were made to save his life, but he didn't make it. To account for all of Jack's bruises, his friend, a PhD, Dr. Frank Fenton, told authorities that Jack was a chronic alcoholic who fell down all the time, and that's where it ended. No investigation, end of file. I did a FOIA request for Jack's autopsy report. It was total bullshit, and the first thing that I noticed was that he did not have the liver of a chronic alcoholic, but I'm not a medical examiner, so I asked Dr. Malusnik to take a look. I was not expecting the second bombshell she dropped.
As far as his injuries, from what I read, they were to the occipital portion of his head or the back of his head. The homicide detectives were called to the hospital, but nothing was ever done at his apartment and no follow-up was done. Do you think that's appropriate or inappropriate?
Well, of course, I mean, it's inappropriate. If there's any trauma, you have to do follow-up, you have to do investigation. I mean, there's no question about it. And one of the things that...
How many times can we hear about these cops not doing proper investigation? This one...
Oh my God, for real. Did everyone...
That, like, you know, you just got to wonder how many of these are cover-ups and intentionally...
A lot.
Not done properly.
A lot.
And I was...
Unfortunately.
You know, it was so important to us to make sure people knew what happened to Jack. So it really was.
In this particular case is interesting is that they described the sort of bleed and contusion on the brain on the side of the scalp trauma, which by definition, I mean, that's an impact not from a fall, but from direct blow to the head. So that was one question that I had. You have an impact on the occipital part, and then you have a brain contusion in that particular area. So by definition, that cannot be a fall. If you have an impact, obviously, well, that by definition means that somebody hit him on the head with something, because he doesn't have a contre-coup injury. So that's a big question mark that I had immediately.
Okay, can you explain, you said contre-coup, and we're going to be explaining this to a lay audience, so can you explain what that means in this context?
When essentially in adults, it doesn't apply to everyone, but in adults in general, it's relatively simple, because if somebody impacts you with a heavy object or enough force applied to bruise the scalp and transfer all that force to the brain, then the brain is going to be impacted exactly where the object came in contact with the head. Let's say somebody hits you in the back of the head, like in this particular case. Let's occipital back of the head. If the object is moving and striking the head, that's what the contusion is going to be on the brain. So that's coup, which means direct impact. It comes from French word coup. Now, with the fall, on the other hand, if let's say somebody falls backward, then when they strike the back of the head in the occipital area, back of the head area, the contusion on that part of the scalp is going to be big, but the contusion on the brain is going to be relatively little. So the coup, direct impact from a fall, is going to be little, but the problem is with the brain, it's kind of anchored and surrounded by the cerebrospinal fluid. The brain is going to move and kind of, shake a little bit, move from the back. It doesn't have a lot of movement because it's anchored by the hard covering of the brain, or what we call dura. But it's going to be some, and it's going to be mostly in the area that is least anchored, which is the front of the brain. And when those parts of the brain move back and forth inside the skull, then they're going to be hitting the skull in that movement. Essentially, you imagine something that it's not totally fixed strike. There's going to be some movement.
Right.
And that movement is going to cause the brain to impact the inside of the skull on the opposite side of the fall impact on the back of the head. So the counter-coup contusion is going to be the front of the temporal lobes, the temples area of the brain, and the front of the brain, the frontal lobes or the frontal pole that's right behind the forehead.
Understood. Thank you.
That's what he doesn't have. He doesn't have counter-coup. Now, one could say, well, there was some description of the contusion of the bottom of the brain, temporal lobes. But that's not what the pathologist of the coroner describes. He doesn't see that after, the brain is fixed, the brain is examined, which basically gives you a better picture, better view of what really happened to the brain. And that's not the case. He doesn't see anything that it looks counter-coup. The only thing that he sees and describes is a coup, which is sizable on the back of the head, which means direct impact.
Wow.
And that's part of the problem with this case.
Okay. Dr. Frank Fenton, the PhD English professor, also made a statement to doctors and the coroner that John Sowden was a chronic alcoholic. Based on this coroner's report now, I understand that you have limited information, but based on the description, is that consistent with chronic alcoholism?
The liver is described, they say that has obtained parenchyma normal differentiation. So number one, he doesn't have cirrhosis. Now, sometimes alcoholics can get the fatty changes. He doesn't really necessarily describe little fatty change in the liver, but under diagnosis list, in the last page, he says fatty infiltration of the liver, which is minimal. Now, a lot of adults can get that, especially, I believe his weight 145, so he's not fat. They say there's some fatty infiltration, but he doesn't really describe in the diagnosis. He doesn't really describe it necessarily under the microscopic description, except for some of the cells himself vacuoles, which means very, very mild. And that can happen with, a couple of drinks a week, which is certainly not alcoholic. So looking at this liver, I just see an adult who occasionally might have a drink or two. It can happen with a couple of drinks a week, but certainly this is not the liver of a chronic alcoholic. Chronic alcoholics would have a big, fatty globules completely transforming the parenchyma, which is not described here. And then, secondly, would be cirrhosis. If somebody's like a really heavy, advanced, degree alcoholic, and that's not the case. So looking at this mild change here, I'm questioning very much if this gentleman was alcoholic at all.
Okay. Thank you for that. For John Sowden, the cause of death is listed as contusion of brain with traumatic intracranial hemorrhages. Now, I don't see a manner of death. If you had seen this, would you rule it pending further info, or would you rule it otherwise?
Oh, absolutely. This requires further investigation, no question about it.
It's funny, on page 1 at the very bottom, it just says witnesses, Dr. Frank Fenton, Dr. Court, Inspector Hugel.
Yes.
Yes. Homicide detail. And then at the very bottom it says officer at scene, No. And that was I honed in on that and said, I need to get an opinion on this because that's crazy to begin with. And then I started reading into it just like we just did. And I said, something is very, very wrong here. Dr. Malusnik, you've been wonderful. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. It was so wonderful to talk to you again. And I wish you all the best.
You as well. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
All
You
right.
too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. There you have it. You have a medical professional saying that John Sowden's autopsy should have been pending further investigation at a minimum. Period. I knew it. I read this and that pisses me off. They dropped the ball. They dropped it big time. I'm still convinced that John Sowden was murdered. I will never get a medical professional to say that because we're limited in the information, but just based on what I've read, I think somebody hit him on the back of the head and left him there to die. And based on what was going on and what we've read and what we know about cover-ups back then, unfortunately, it's a possibility.
So the question is why?
Why? Lillian, you have a medical professional saying that she was struck with the hammer first, and then he literally took up to 3 minutes to strangle her to death. That's personal. That is vicious. That was calculated and cold. He knew what he was doing. It wasn't just a hammer strike. He suffocated her. And he caused major damage to her neck, which means he used a lot of pressure, which means he caused a lot of damage, which means he was full on ready to kill her. We just have to press forward and see what we can find from Spirit at this point, because I think that's the only place our answers are going to come from, unless I can somehow find more paperwork. I don't know how that'll happen, but you know what? I'll just keep digging. It's what I do.
Shortly after this interview, Karen had a dream.
What do you guys think? Was Jack murdered?
Ice?
Oh God, I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I
think
just,
so.
Just based on the like the coup and the counter coup thing alone.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
That right there. If that's not the bruise pattern or whatever of a fall, what are we doing here? Like,
Right.
what?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Exactly. They didn't even go to his. They did nothing. They literally went to the hospital and went, "Oh, he's dead," and they literally left. They left him there. He was in a coma. They didn't do anything. They didn't go to the house. Didn't look for a weapon. Didn't look for blood. Didn't look for anything. Didn't do a search warrant. Didn't do a goddamn thing. French. Not one thing. And they left that in the hospital to die. And then here's this PhD English guy that comes in and, oh, Jack fell down all the time. He's a friggin' alcoholic, whatever. And I'm like, well,
Right.
who the hell are you, first of all?
Language.
And
Right.
second of all, you know, he wasn't an alcoholic. That's clear. And why
Right.
would you say that? So, yeah.
Who know? I mean,
Bryce, do you agree?
I agree completely. And I think a lot of it was probably his sexuality that they just kind of left him and didn't really investigate it.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
Got it.
And I was also going to set us back a few decades. But was the guy who calls him an alcoholic another gay man?
Yes.
Correct.
Because to be honest with you, listen, I've been gay a while. It's giving two bitches who don't like each other. And he's like, oh, him? Oh, yeah, he fell down all the time. Like, come on. Have we not been around that behavior?
He's nailed it. That's exactly what I thought.
Exactly what it is.
I don't know. I think he was part of the cover-up myself. But here's something that's interesting. Dr. Frank lived in the basement of Kenneth Anger. Now, Kenneth Anger is the guy who did those weird
naked films.
Yeah, those weird films, and was eventually tied to, oh Lord,
San Francisco guy.
The Anton LaVey.
LaVey.
So the things start getting weirder and weirder as we go forward.
And also connected to, we haven't gotten to Marjorie Cameron yet. The Elemental.
Yeah, the Elemental.
So Marjorie
Right.
Cameron, not Jackson, he's Jack Parsons.
Oh,
Elemental, Marjorie Cameron was acting in Kenneth Anger's movies. So here we are. Here we go into this vortex of weirdness and 1 degree of separation between these people that have completely different lives. It's insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and people. I mean, you see it all the time in documentaries and things. Like the second they heard it was a gay guy, they were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
you know,
they just
they
left.
all party.
Yeah.
They were all on drugs. That you know, they're so much of it got swept under the rug.
Yeah.
You know, hello. That's why. Who the hell was the guy? Oh my God, he was kind of cute. He wore glasses. The serial killer who ate everyone and tried to make them
Jeffrey
zombies.
Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer. They literally, one of them escaped.
Yes.
And then like literally
Is that
tried
not
to get
the
help.
worst horror story on the whole freaking
The
planet?
poor friggin' kid escaped. He had acid via a hole drilled in his head.
Yeah.
And they literally saw him, and he was like, "Oh, my boyfriend's a little too drunk." And they were like, "We don't want to get involved with these, you know, whatever they called them." And the kid got dismembered and eaten. Like, are you kidding me? So I am sure.
Can you imagine
Could've
you
stopped
escape this monster?
Okay.
You
No.
find
back in.
You find the police, and you're like, "Thank God!" And then the police deliver you right
Right back to him. Like, so I guarantee if anybody knew back then that
Yeah.
Jack was gay, they were just like, this is how they are here in San Francisco. They're all drunks. They're all out all the time. He probably fell. I don't need to look into it. Like, they probably didn't even care. He's probably like, good, one less homo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guarantee that's what that was. Guarantee.
Yeah.
Not to go on a
and
rant.
this takes us to
Seemingly from Elizabeth Short. She showed her what happened the night of her murder.
And I look up, and out of this light, George Hodel spins out of this alcove, and he's got on a brown trench coat. And I can see his jacket spin. And he looks at me and he grabs me. And in my dream, I can feel his hand grab my arm. And he looks at me with this demonic look, and he goes, "Let's go."
And that would lead us to our next location.
next week.
Not next week. Next week is Steve Hodel.
Next week is Steve Hodel. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be doing party for episode 4. Next week is going to be Steve Hodel talking about
all of his stuff.
All of his stuff and
updates.
Black Dahlia, Zodiac tied for them to George Hodel. Aleister Crowley involved in LA during this area. No. He was here like 1924, and then I don't
early
think he,
20s,
and then I don't think he ever
didn't
returned.
stay long.
However, the OTO was forming
Right.
parsonage and all those things. So
he didn't stay long here in LA.
He was
He
here
didn't like it.
in presence only. And do you guys have any other questions before we finish up here? Just going back through everything.
Yeah, we're gonna go over to the Rowdy Pub and
we
have a nice
are-
big chat.
We're
really
going
gonna dish.
the website, guys. We're going to be live there for all of our website peep. Just so you guys know, and we are going to have Joe and Bryce discuss things further about their findings on the Ashford Hotel, as well as this new suspect that everybody says is a thing. So please, if you haven't joined the website, please come over and join. It's only $9.99 a month. It's a great way to help support us. We are trying to raise money and finish season 2. We've only got half it done right now. If you don't want to join the website, buy some merch. If you don't want to buy some merch, just donate $1. Every single dollar counts and goes towards the investigation. Every single dollar is important to us. And by the way, we've had a lot of dollar donations, and I want to thank every single
Thank you.
person has donated $1 on up. We appreciate every last of it.
Oh, thank you guys.
And if you want a sticker, you can go and donate $3.50.
Oh, gravy.
And
sticker.
that'll get you a gravy sticker.
Yeah.
But so for everybody who donates $3.53, they'll just automatically get a sticker. Yes, Amy, we're going to the pub tonight. We're going to have Joe and Bryce take a look at those things and tell us what they think about this new killer after they've had a chance to look at the room and the Astor Motel and when Elizabeth Short was killed there or what they think. So again,
thank you guys very much. That was fun.
Yeah,
Join
thank
the
you guys.
website,
Thank you.
You donate all from the grave.
Your baby sticker.
The link down below is there, or you can use the QR code on the thumbnail. Again, we thank you guys so much for all that you do for us, for being part of the community. We love the community that we've been here, and we love you guys. And we'll see you next Friday.
Thanks,
Or
guys.
we'll
Have a
see-
wonderful and safe 4th.
And we'll see everybody else in the Rowdy Pub in about 10 minutes, guys.
Happy
Happy
Peace.
4th of July. You guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Soon.